My fourth new technology is Quizlet. I think Quizlet has been around for a while, and it's something that I'd heard of before this point, but it's something that I'd never used until this year. I actually used it for the first time in my classroom a couple weeks ago, and I loved it, the students loved it, so it's something that I wanted to share with you. Quizlet can be used to review a topic, create vocabulary flashcards, or actually any type of flashcards. That's kind of the main thing it does. It creates review games, it gives you practice tests. Basically, it's a study tool for students. So in my classroom, I chose to use Quizlet as a study tool for our word parts. We learn 15 prefixes, suffixes, and/or roots every quarter, so students can continue to add word parts to their online flashcards throughout the year, and they can also play the study games to help them learn the definitions. So my intended audience are my students. My goal for Quizlet is to provide a study tool for students that can be accessed at school and at home. I also hope that the review games are kind of like a motivation for them to actually study these terms and learn them. My two standards for Quizlet, one comes from the teacher standards and one comes from the student standards. So the teacher standard is to customize and personalize learning activities to address students' diverse learning styles, working strategies, and abilities using digital tools and resources. And then the student standard is to plan and manage activities to develop a solution or complete a project. So I help them create this study tool. I help them learn how to use it, and I gave them class time to set it up. But then it's kind of up to the student to manage that, to actually use it as a study tool to their advantage. I don't give a ton of class time for them to just get on Quizlet and study. There might be a few, days where we have we finish 5 minutes early, so I tell them to get on Quizlet and study. So it's also a good time filler for me, but I don't actually give them the chance to use it very often. This is kind of something that I gave them as a tool, and it is up to them to use it how they will. So let's look at Quizlet, and I'll show you what I did with it in my classroom. When you go to Quizlet, you'll have to log in. It's free. I sign in with my Google account, so I didn't even have to type anything in, and it just automatically signs me in now. So this is the home page that it takes me to. On the left side of the screen, you have kind of all your navigation bar. Your study sets, if you click on that, it takes you to all the study sets that you have created. Settings takes you to the place where you can control the settings for your page. Your classes. I only made one class and just added all of my students to it because I don't really monitor what they're doing on the site. I just encourage them to use it as a tool. And actually, I have figured out that students don't have to create an account if they get on, like if they access it through a link that I give them. But if they create their own sets, they do have to have a sign up. So you can create multiple classes if you want, but I just did one. There's also an option to create folders, so if you want to sort your sets, maybe if you want to do, multiple sets of flashcards for each unit, you could sort it by unit, but there is the option to create folders and organize your flashcards. So I'm on the latest activity page. When I scroll down, it takes me to what I've been working on. Literary Elements, I made that Quizlet set last week, and it's basically just a review tool for things like plot and setting and character information and terms that they need to know for my classroom. So it's a link that I gave them for if they have free time, go on and play one of the study games just to refresh your memory. But the word parts is the thing that I wanted to use Quizlet for this year. So when I click on the word parts unit 1, it takes me to that set. And so up here you can see that there are 15 terms in this set, and what that means is that there are 15 flashcards. So I created a flashcard for all the word parts in this unit, so the 15. So to the left, it tells what the word part is. To the right, it gives me the definition. If I go all the way to the bottom, I can add or remove terms. So my idea for my students, what I'm going to do this year, and hopefully it works out, is that every quarter they're going to add to their flashcard set. So students got on, they created their flashcards, and once they've created them and typed in typed in everything for the flashcards, then they get to use all these tools up here to study those word parts. So the Learn option basically takes them to a mini quiz. I have to just type in the answer, and it tells me if I'm right or wrong. So that's one of the options to study. Flashcards takes them to an actual flashcard, is kind of what it looks like. If you click on the card, it flips it. So odd, AUD, that prefix means to hear. So they can just flip through. If they push the arrow, it goes to the next one. And that's one study tool that's on this site. Write means they have to type in the prefix or suffix that it's asking for, and it tells them if they're right or wrong. Spell is, I tell them never to use spell, because what it is it says the word or it says something and they have to write it out. So spelling isn't really my concern for this. It's more of, are they understanding and memorizing the definitions and word parts. So I'm going to skip that one. Test creates basically a practice test for them. Some of the questions they have to actually type in the answer. Some of it's multiple choice, so it just gives them a variety of ways to study. There's some true or false questions. And then it checks their answers and they can see which ones they missed, what they struggled with. So that's the practice test. Match is my favorite, and it's the game that I encourage them to use. And it's one that they love because it's kind of a fun game. It's like a matching game. You just drag the correct answer to the correct definition. So this is the one I think that the students use the most. And it's kind of the one I encourage them to do because it gets them to practice, but it's also kind of fun. One of the things they love about it is that at the end it gives you your time, and it also, you know, encourages you to beat other students' time. So it kind of is a competition, which they really like. Gravity is kind of a more challenging game. Basically, you destroy the asteroids. So I want all the terms in it. I'm going to put it on easy for the demonstration. And then I'm going to make it be the term that I have to type. So for asteroid, you just have to destroy the asteroids by typing in the correct term. So state or quality of, the answer to that is NES. And once you type it in and push enter, it deletes the asteroid if you're right. If you're wrong, so I'll be wrong on this one. If you're wrong, it doesn't go away. And if you keep being wrong, then eventually it's going to get to the bottom. And if it gets to the bottom, you get a strike or you're out, or I'm not exactly sure. I think it said 2, you can miss 2 before you get out. So gravity is another option. I usually tell them not to play that one until, you know, maybe they know the terms a little bit better. But they do like to play gravity. Live is an option where you can kind of do a classroom game. I haven't used it yet. Maybe I'll experiment with that a little bit more later this year. But I'm not really sure exactly how to work it yet. So if you scroll down once you get to this page, you can see which ones have you missed, which ones have you never missed, which ones have you not practiced with. So that's a good way for the students to kind of see which ones do they need to work on, which ones are they maybe okay and can take a break from for a little bit. So I like that Quizlet gives students all of this information about their own learning. So like I said, I have used this in my classroom kind of twice this year. Once was for the word parts. We did that a couple weeks ago. And then I also gave them the link for the literary element review one last week. So I have used it before, but this is the first time I've incorporated it into my room, and I'm going to use it throughout the year, and I think it's going to work really great for my purpose. But it's something that I wanted to share with you guys because it's so simple, and I was able to create this really quickly. Like I said, if you want, you can create your own set and then just give the link to the students and they can access it without signing in. If you want them to create their own, then I think they have to sign in. But like I said, it's free, and it's a tool that students should really be taking advantage of. So encourage your students to use this. It's a great tool, and I think it's going to help them learn throughout this year.